How you doing? This is Sean McVeigh with Sean's Outdoor Adventures, and in this video I'm going to talk about what is the best compound bow for beginners. I get this question all the time, and so I just want to make this video to answer that for all of you viewers out there. Here are some of the questions I usually ask people that ask me what is the best compound bow for beginners. The first is, what is your budget? The second is, will you be working on the bow yourself? Do you have a place to take it to get it tuned? What is your situation? There's a lot of people who have nowhere to take it and they don't know what they're doing, and so it's all up to them. And so there are elements of you learning how to tune a bow that are important, and I have a lot of videos on bow tuning, so they can get you started in that category if you need to do that. But now I'm going to base a lot of the rest of this video on budget. How much do you have to spend? I'm going to start with the least expensive and go to the most expensive. Typically when you're a beginner and you're just getting started, a lot of people don't want to spend a whole lot, or especially if it's for their child, they don't know if the kid's going to like it. They want to dump too much money into it and then the kid not like it later on. So I'm going to start off with talking about your more budget style bow. This is a compound bow that I received from Leader Accessories. They also are offering, by the way, I'm going to tell you this real quick, an extra discount for my viewers. If you buy this bow, you can get an additional 12% off. And this is already a fairly inexpensive bow when it comes to compounds. So I'm going to have a link for all of this in the description section of this video where you can get that discount code and then purchase this through Amazon is where they sell it from. So I want to point out some key features of this particular bow for you to consider when you're looking to purchase a compound bow. First of all, the cams, which are these right here, are very rounded on this bow, which means it's going to have a much smoother draw cycle than a really radically ovular shaped cam. The cams basically store the energy for the bow, and so the more rounded these are, the smoother your draw is going to be. Now these are both cams. They're not perfect circles. There's a little bit of an ovular shape to them, and in a situation where you have a bow that has a cam on one side and a perfect round wheel on the other, that's called a single cam bow. Those are also very smooth tuning or smooth drawing, and there's not as much of a concern for tuning because you only have one cam, so you don't have to synchronize the two cams, and that's what's going on with some of the tuning. So when you're looking at a bow for beginners, that's something you consider. If you're like, I don't want to worry about anything at all that's going to need any tuning, well, a single cam bow is an option for you to look at. Typically speaking though, a single cam bow is going to be a little bit more expensive than this entry-level bow that I'm talking about here that I got from Leader Accessories. So one thing I want to point out here is there's a yoke system. That's what this is called, a yoke system on each limb. Okay, you're not going to have that on every bow, but it is a nice feature to have. So as you can see, this is a split limb bow, and by having the yoke system, you can control what's called cam lean. So there's cables, as you can see, on this side of the construction of the bow, and what that can actually do is cause these cams to pivot toward that cable slide there. So both cams could be pivoting, and what that does is when you shoot an arrow off of this, it can impact if the arrow comes off to one side or the other, if you have cam lean or not. By having the two yoke systems, you can add twist to the one side of the yoke, and that will actually bring your cam back into alignment so that you don't have lean. So that's a nice aspect of this compound bow. Again, it's very inexpensive compared to a lot of compounds. I think this is priced right around the $200 mark or a little less. One thing I want to point out is the model that I'm holding has a max weight of 55 pounds. They also have a model that has a max weight of 70 pounds. This is also the type of bow you would want to shoot with a mechanical release. The axle to axle length, which is here to here, is fairly short. And so if you were drawing with fingers to shoot with fingers, there would be a lot of what they call finger pinch because it's going to have a short angle here with the shorter axle to axle. If you wanted to shoot with fingers with a compound, you'd need a much longer axle to axle bow, and it's going to be hard to find that in the lower price range. Now this comes with a peep sight pre-installed. You'll probably need to move that in order for it to fit you. So that's one thing to keep in mind, and I do have instructions on my tuning videos on how to tie in a peep sight. Another nice feature this has, it has a fairly large draw length adjustment, and you can adjust that by this disc right here, removing the screws and rotating it. And then to adjust for your draw weight, obviously the limb bolts here, you loosen or tighten those to adjust the weight. It comes without the accessories on here. However, it comes with a 3-pin sight with a fiber optic sight. I didn't even get to take it out of the package yet. Comes with a drop away arrow rest, and I'm going to talk about the difference between a drop away and other options in a minute. But it comes with a drop away rest, which you don't see too often on these entry-level bows. And it also comes with a mechanical release, along with 2 aluminum arrows. So you have pretty much everything you need to take the bow out of the box, put the accessories on, and start shooting, including the release aid. All for a little under $200. And then if you get the 12% discount for my viewers, you get this even less expensive. So this is a good option for a beginner who doesn't have a big budget or doesn't want to spend a lot of money and gets themselves started with archery. Again, this comes with a 55-pound limb maximum weight and a 70-pound limb maximum weight. So they have different ones. Just make sure you order the one that you want. Like if you only want a max of 55, make sure you click on the right option for that. Another thing I'll say too is the aluminum arrows are great for getting started, but a lot of people use carbon arrows nowadays. So here's an example of a carbon arrow. Carbon is a lot stronger. Aluminum can get bent and broken a lot easier. So especially as a beginner, after you break your initial or bend your initial arrows that you get with the bow, when you get new arrows, make sure I would encourage you to look for carbon arrows that would work for your poundage. And I'll mention too with this, with the cable slide, they do give you some lubrication to put on the cable slide just to help with this piece sliding along the cable slide. The next bow I want to talk about is the Diamond Edge SB1. This is also a really great bow for beginners. It's going to cost about twice as much as that bow. So this bow is around the $400 range, where that's a little under $200. And what's the difference? I mean, you're typically looking at the materials used to build the bow are what goes into the difference in price. This is a really nice bow because it has an extremely large draw length adjustable range, even more so than that bow. And the draw weight adjustable range is also larger with this bow. So this bow can go from, I think it goes all the way down to like 5 pounds or 15 pounds and all the way up to 70. So it's just a tremendous range. So you can really grow with this bow. It's especially good for your teenagers who are still growing, or young people going through long, large growth spurts. You can continue to change the draw length and the draw weight as the person grows. This has the hostage style rest, which has 3 points of contact, as opposed to like this bow that has the drop away rest. And which one is better? A lot of people prefer the drop away rest, but this is a really good rest as well, though, for kids who are just getting started out. All right, and last but not least, if you have a really big budget, you can get one of your flagship type bows. This bow here is an Expedition, and the whole setup on this bow, if you bought everything brand new, you're looking at $1,400 in this kind of a setup, and it really is quite nice. If you were to shoot this bow that I'm holding next to these two bows, you're going to see a difference in the speed. You're going to see a difference in how smooth everything is. I mean, you can definitely tell a difference, and faster, quieter, everything. So if you want to get into and stick with archery and you have a big budget, this type of thing is an option, but these don't come in package deals. You have to buy each component and put it on there. Before I close this video, I did talk in length about the yoke system on this particular bow here. And on the Diamond Edge SB1, you'll see it has solid limbs instead of split limbs. And you'll notice there is no yoke system. So right now it looks like there's not much cam lean at all to the bow. But if you were to have some or develop some, there's not much you could do to correct for it when you don't have the yoke system, whereas this one you do. I do get a lot of questions about which is better, this or the Bear Cruiser, I think it is, or I think it's called the Bear Cruiser. A big difference between this and the Bear Cruiser is the Bear Cruiser has a double yoke system, such as this bow here. And so with the yoke system, you can adjust for cam lean if you have any. And having this bow without all that, for you as a new person, there's a little less tuning that might be involved with using this bow as opposed to the Bear Cruiser. Both give you a very long draw length range as well as draw weight range. So they're both good bows. It just comes down to, do you want a bow that has the yoke system on both sides, or do you want to not have to mess with any of that and go with something like this? I'll also say that for many years I used this little portable bow press, and you can get one of these somewhat inexpensively. Is the name on here? I forget the name here. Is Bowmaster is the name on this one. But with that portable bow press, you can hook that on each end of the limb and then crank it up and press the bow. Now, judging by how narrow the limbs are on this, I don't even know if it would work on this bow. I'd have to check it to see if it would. But I've used it a lot of times on other split limb bows, and it's worked fine. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you, if you need a little help with instructions on archery, in addition to the videos that I've done, I do have a book on archery called Sin and the Spirituality of Archery, which talks about how I developed in archery and learned how to shoot. And then I have a really technical chapter that goes through every aspect of form that you could pretty much think of. And then I just have a little throw in at the last chapter is just a little spiritual twist on the whole thing, which is kind of interesting. So there's a resource for you, which is also going to be in the link in the description section of this video. So there you have it. This is for beginners. This is to give you some ideas on what's the best bow for beginners. If you have a very small budget or don't want to spend much, something like this is going to be a great option. Again, look at the links in the description section of this video. It'll take you to my website where you can click on the link to purchase these types of bows. I have it set up for Amazon, and so if you do purchase them that way, clicking through my website, they give me a little referral commission, so that helps me. So if you like my videos and you want to help me in the process of buying one of these bows, please click through my website to do so. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out all the tuning and other archery videos too to give you some more information on archery. Until next time, take care and God bless.